Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan, and we continue our search for the scariest places in Fallout 76. And you know that name may be a little misleading. Maybe I should change it to the most dangerous places or the most interesting places. And today, we might have a place that is all three of those, because this place is scary, it is very interesting, and it may be the most dangerous place I've ever researched. So come with me as we go and journey to the Tunnel of Death. Hidden deep in the mountains of West Virginia, down towards its southern border, lies a region that is forgotten by time. Its terrain is as rough and rugged as it is beautiful, but it hides a dark secret and a forgotten past, a dark past. It is Mingo County, West Virginia, better known as Bloody Mingo, because for decades, this area has been regarded as one of the most murderous and dangerous places in all of American history. The haunted mountains of this region have been the stage of bloodbaths too numerous to number. Now, one of those was the infamous Hatfield and Mccoys massacre. Yes, there really was a Hatfield and McCoy feud, as has been depicted by TV and film and comedy skits for years. But in real life, it was no laughing matter. Now, I won't get into great detail about this feud now. That would deserve its own video. But the Hatfields were all Confederate soldiers in the Civil War, and they lived here in Mingo County. The McCoys were from Ireland and lived on the Kentucky side. And believe it or not, most of them were Confederate soldiers as well, with the exception of Asa Harmon McCoy, who fought for the Union. The feud actually began because Asa was killed in the war, and his family couldn't take it. So after the war, they didn't lay down their guns. The McCoys attacked the Hatfields, blaming them for the death of their relative. As the feud raged on, dozens were killed on both sides over the next few years. Now, there were also Union battles, and I don't mean from the Civil War, I mean miners' unions. They also took place in these hills. In the 1920s, the miners of Mingo County defied the company's orders and signed union pledges for the first time. The mining companies didn't take this sitting down. They sent hired gunmen who began evicting the miners from the company-owned houses. Well, coming out to put a stop, however, was the Mingo County Sheriff, Sid Hatfield. Yep, he was a Hatfield. He led an armed revolt against the hired gunmen. 10 people were killed, 7 hired gunmen, 2 miners, and the town mayor. The following year, Hatfield would be executed in cold blood by the relatives of the hired gunmen. You get a little bit of the history of Mingo County. Now, in 1921, it just escalates even more. Over 1,300 miners marched toward the mines of Mingo, demanding the right to be unionized. However, standing between them and the mines was an anti-union sheriff, Don Chafin, and he had assembled the nation's largest private armed force of over 2,000 men. Taking the high ground atop Blair Mountain, the Battle of Blair Mountain was about to begin. In an effort to avoid friendly fire, the miners all agreed to wear red handkerchiefs around their necks, and yes, they would become known as the Rednecks. You can't make this stuff up. Things were so bad that President Warren Harding threatened to send federal troops and MB-1 bombers to stop the rebellion. In the days ahead, over 100 miners lost their lives, and over 1,000 men were arrested and charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder, accessory to murder, and treason against the state of West Virginia. Now again, that is just a taste of the bloody past of this area. Again, hopefully you can start to see why this area gets its name. But all of that is not the strangest reason for our talk today. Tucked away in a dark corner of this remote area is almost a deserted one-lane tunnel today, almost a mile long, that cuts straight through the mountain. And this tunnel serves as the entryway to the small community of Dingess, West Virginia. It is known as the Dingess Tunnel or as America's bloodiest tunnel. The Dingess Tunnel was constructed in 1892 for the Norfolk and Western Railroad. This tunnel, just as the region itself, has a long history of violence and is known today as a super haunted location, and is definitely a place you do not want to be found alone. The tunnel was constructed mainly by African American and Chinese labor. There were several accidental deaths recorded and many more that were rumored that were never recorded while the tunnel was under construction. Now, I cannot imagine what it took to bore a mile-long hole through the mountainside in the late 1800s with only hand tools and animals. The working conditions had to be very extreme, dangerous, and beyond difficult, to say the least. But sadly, the tunnel's history gets darker after the construction was finished. Local history and rumor is filled with unknown numbers of deaths because the locals did not take kindly to outsiders, especially the African American and Chinese workers, and it is said that people would hide close to the entrance of the tunnel and shoot to death those entering and exiting that were not local West Virginians. Thus the tunnel getting the name the Tunnel of Death. Very sadly, this violence did not stop with the turning of the centuries, and it even continued into the 1960s. The last recorded death happened in 1968 with a man being charged with murder. In addition to the violence the tunnel has seen, a lot of accidents have been there as well. At least 3 recorded train wrecks have happened in the tunnel itself. The first train accident happened in 1898. A freight train crashed, leaving 7 dead and several injured. The second train accident happened in 1905. 2 trains collided head-on exactly inside the tunnel, resulting in the deaths of at least 4 people and multiple injuries. The third train accident resulted in the death of the train engineer. Very, very strange having 3 train accidents at the exact same spot. Now, in the 1960s, the tunnel became a 1-lane paved road, and now you can drive through the tunnel today, but do it with extreme care. So this piece of ground was covered in blood literally before the tunnel existed. This place has a long and dark and gory past. But yet, does that make it scary or haunted? Well, most people say that the majority of ghost activity happens where people die quickly or violently. There is also hundreds of eyewitness accounts at the Dingess tunnels of ghost activity, if you believe such things. One common report is of seeing a man close to the end of the tunnel, illuminated with a light as if he is searching for something close to the ground. Other witnesses claim to hear strange noises coming from the heart of the tunnel. Many say they hear voices and whispers deep inside the tunnel. If you go in and turn off your car, you can hear the whispers speak. They say you can also hear the sounds of miners and workers still working today. There has even been reports of organ music playing deep inside this mile-long tunnel. Now, how creepy would that be? Walking a mile into pitch black darkness and hearing organ music playing. The TV show Ghost Lab made an appearance at the tunnel and recorded a ghostly whisper saying hello along with other EVPs or electronic voice phenomenons, with other evidence. And even one local claims to have a picture of a little girl that is not of this world. Finally, I would say this landmark with its history and its past will make a perfect fit into the Fallout universe. In fact, sadly, it will fit into Fallout better than it does into the real world. This will be a place we will have to walk into the darkness, not knowing what the next step will bring. What will step out of the immense dark shadows? Will it be a ghost? Will it be one of the hundreds of miners or workers that were killed at the Tunnel of Death? Will it be a ghoul or a monster or a demon like we have never seen? Maybe it will be one of the Hatfields or Mccoys, or maybe it will just be sounds and noises that will make our anxiety and our tension rise as the darkness surrounds us and our thoughts run wild. There are so many possibilities in the Tunnel of Death. How cool would it be to meet a Hatfield or McCoy? Now listen, I know it's been drilled in our head that there's no human NPCs, but remember back to Skyrim. Remember how many spirits were in Skyrim. And I know in this series I've talked a lot about ghosts, and I know some of you probably are back there saying there's not going to be this many ghosts in Fallout 76. And I know every one of these places are not going to have ghosts, but there is a possibility in every one of these places to have ghosts. And I do believe Bethesda is going to put some spirits in, and I believe there's going to be some quests that come through some spirits as well. How cool would it be to have a quest line to be able to solve the feud of the Hatfield and McCoys? How cool would it be outside of the tunnel to meet one of the Hatfield and McCoys and to start that quest line? That would be awesome. That would be really cool to do. That's cool. Thanks for getting your Bethesda fix right here at the King's Corner. Remember, all my links are down below. Remember to like this video. Sometimes y'all forget that. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it at all. And hey, share the video if you can. Share it on social media. I would appreciate that. That helps me a lot as well. If you're not subscribed, that's free. Do that as well. Help me grow this channel. And please, if you're able, check out my Patreon page. $1, $2 a month, anything helps. I'm trying to make this a living, and boy, you can't do that on $50, $55, $60 a month. You just can't. So please help me out there if you can at all. Like I said, $1, $2 a month. That's all I need. Another scary place coming up very soon. My mom is having surgery tomorrow, so send your prayers out. I'll probably not have anything the rest of this week, so that's where I'll be. So y'all send your prayers, and I'll see you this weekend. Bye, guys.